All right, this is my 2008 911 Turbo 997.1 Turbo with a Tiptronic transmission. For this video, I'm going to tackle the front and rear differential oil change. And this car has 108,000 miles. It's been treating me really well, actually. I do the oil changes every no more than 5,000 miles. I'll probably do it less, maybe 4,000 to 5,000 miles. I try to do things myself. The brakes, I did the spark plugs, coil packs. YouTube has been a great help with kind of figuring out how to tackle these jobs. I haven't seen too many on the front and rear differential for the Tiptronic 997.1 turbo, so I'm gonna tackle that myself. Kind of give you guys a little heads up on how to do that. Those of you that might be confused on how to do it, or I'm just trying to find videos on how to do it. It was hard for me to find a video, so that's why I'm creating one. All right, so the oils that I'm using: front differential, front and rear, I'm using Motul oil. The front is going to be 7580, and the rear differential is going to be 7590. I got those viscosities from Porsche, and after kind of doing a little bit of research myself. Transmission, I'm going to do the transmission on a different video, but I'm also going to tackle that this week. So I'm using the Titan ATF 4134. It asks, or Porsche asks, to use 3353 ATF oil. This one is actually an upgraded version of the 3353, and it's backwards compatible, so you will be able to use it. In fact, I was reading up on it, and it's a German transmission, the Tiptronic transmission, used in a lot of Mercedes, and that oil was specifically made with Mercedes in mind, especially the automatic transmissions. So yeah, so it should be pretty simple once I figure out where the fill plug and drain plugs are, and making sure I get the liquid up to temp. And I guess we'll tackle this job. So I was able to jack up my car fairly easily using this bar that was made specifically for the 997. I don't know if you can see that black bar that goes from hole to hole where the jack points are. So put the bar underneath, jack it up in the middle. It's a strong bar that is naturally bowing to kind of accommodate for the extra pressure. That way it doesn't hit the actual body of the car. Once you jack it up, put jack stands right underneath where the holes are. The bar is rounded to kind of accommodate for the jack stands. And you're good to go. Jack it up from the middle, put the jack stands underneath where they need to go. Pretty easy to jack it up with this bar. If you guys want to know where I got that, just let me know. I'll try and find out that information and give it to you guys. All right, I'm under the car. That's the transmission pan right there. So for the Tiptronic, kind of a little different than the 996. So we have the fill or the drain plug. This is transmission. I know I'm not doing that this video, but I can give you a heads up. That's a drain plug for the transmission oil pan, and that's the fill plug. I think this is used to kind of relieve pressure, because this right here, take that cap off, and there's a bolt that has like a valve in it where you actually fill the transmission oil, from what I understand. So filling it with everything sealed will probably create pressure into the transmission, which is why I think you take that off to kind of relieve the pressure from putting oil in there, and once it spills out, then your level's good. That's what I understand. That's what I think that extra one is for. So this is the rear differential. We got the drain plug right here, and it was hard for me to find it, but the fill plug, let me see if you can see it in there, that right there, I think it's a T25 or T27 Torx bit that you're going to need to open that up. I know it looks big, but that is a little, basically a little hole where the T25 fits in. So that's a fill plug, and that is the drain plug for the rear differential. All right, I'm at the front of the car, so this cover right here is going to need to be taken off because the differential, I think it's right in there. You guys can see it. There it is, focused on there. I think that's it. Yeah, it looks like the drain plug is right there. So to take this off, I think you're going to have to use a T25. I have a T20. It still works. But this is my, where's that? This is my T25. It broke. I need to get another one. Previous job, bolt was just so stuck in there, just broke. So take off all these body fasteners, and then we'll have access to the differential. All right, we got the differential right there, covers off. Drain plug, fill plug. My inner tie rods look a little torn, so I'm probably gonna have to replace those real soon. All right, so all I gotta do, undo that, let it drain, put it back on, take off the fill it until it starts pouring out. I think that's pretty standard for differentials. So let's get to it. Okay, I got some clarification. So, two drain plugs. One in the rear part of the front differential, and you got the front one. That one I just drained. That is the front differential drain plug. That is going to require 7590 oil. You fill that up in there, right in there. This is still part of the front controlling mechanism. This is the drain plug for the front clutch pack, which engages the front wheels. So that drains that. This requires, and to fill it is right in there. This requires, what was it, 7580 oil. Same oil for like a manual transmission from what I understand. So a little bit of clarification. I got a little confused. I thought it was all one system and kind of looked it up. And this is the differential, and the clutch pack is right here that engages the front wheels. So I drained the front differential fluid and I put it in an empty quart. That was from a Maserati. But so I don't know if you guys can see, the fluid level is right there. So exactly 1 quart or 0.94, 0.95 liters came out of the front differential. So that's how much I'm going to pump into the fill plug. This empty quart came in handy. time to pump in. 75, 90 in. All right, let me get to a good position. Maybe around here. I think that's better. All right, here goes nothing. This thing works pretty cool. This is a hand pump for liquid. Got it off of Amazon, actually. Let's see where we at. About halfway there. Question is this pump going to pump everything in? Almost there. Nothing spilling out yet. Come on, get the last of it. Still see a little bit in the liter bottle. I think that's as much as I'm going to get in. Oh, starting to spill a little bit too. We got a little spill. Looks like that's going to do the trick. Let me get this bolt in. I'll clean it first. Yep, it's coming out. Perfect amount. All right, pretty simple. Okay, so that's how much is in the tube, left in the tube, and that's how much there is left in the liter bottle. So remember, the amount that I extracted was 1 quart. So 1 liter is about 1.05 quarts. So I think we're on the money. So all that was extracted and it started leaking out. So we're good. On to the clutch pack. All right, here's a clutch pack. The tube is it's gonna be a little difficult to maneuver, a little more than the differential. Just gotta get it at a good angle. The fill plug of the clutch pack is a little angled. So give this my best shot. I think I got it. All right. Just to make sure, this is 75/80 going into the clutch pack. And it's going in. So the clutch pack for the all-wheel drive system, not all 997s, 911s have this. It's going in. Where are we at? Oh, we're almost down to the end. Oops. Tipped over. Come on, get in there. Oh, and it's coming out, as you can see. Filled it to the level it needs to be. Perfect. Same thing, it took a whole quart or a liter. I don't mind it dripping. Don't want to overfill it. Ooh, it's making a bit of a mess though. All right. Okay. Let me get this on. This was pretty hard to get to. I had to use a 17 millimeter wrench, a ratcheting wrench. Let me see if I can find it so I can show you. Where'd that wrench go? Oh, it's right here. So this is what I used to get to the fill plugs for the differential and the clutch packs. So it's a 17 wrench, but I have a ratcheting angled end to it, which worked really well, actually. Perfect for this. I was able to kind of angle it in there and loosen it. Now I got to tighten it. Same thing with the differential, so came in pretty handy. All right, time to drain the rear differential oil. That wasn't too hard. Let's see, don't want it to spill. Let's see if I can stop myself from making a mess. little messy. See that coming on out. Now you don't want to do this unless you know for a fact you can take off the fill plug, because if you drain the oil and can't take off the fill plug, then you're stuck. So make sure you can take off the fill plug. I loosened this one because I was actually having a hard time finding the right bit to get this. Let me see if I can find. Oh, there it is. So yeah, that was pretty hard to get to. Good thing I was able to loosen it, and I know confidently I could take that off. I was taking a risk in the front differential and clutch pack because I drained the fluid without loosening the fill plug, so I was taking a little bit of a risk, but good thing I was able to take those off and everything was good. All right, looks like it's almost done. That way we can fill it. So about 40 ounces came out of the rear differential. That's a little bit more than a liter, or a little bit more than a quart. Now it's time to put this thing in. Snake it around the back. There we go. And get it in there. All right, time to pump. Thing works pretty good. All right, so just got to pump in 40 ounces, so that's about a whole liter and a little bit. Basically, I'm going to fill it up until it starts overflowing. So 40 ounces came out of the rear differential, and I put in about a quart and a quarter. When I put in a quart and a quarter, it started coming out quite a bit. So I filled it a little too much, but it's no big deal. That's what the fill plug is for, which is right in there. Fill plug was a little difficult to get out. You just kind of have to go through the wheel well to access that. That's what I did anyways. So it's pretty straightforward. Now onto the transmission. It'll be a different video. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. If you have any tips on how to do this better, then let me know. This is DIY, so I'm just learning as I go. Thanks for watching.